Luca always carried a gun. He had a license to carry a gun, probably the most expensive gun license ever issued any place, any time. It had cost a total of $10,000, but it would keep him out of jail if he was frisked by the cops. As a top executive operating official of the family, he rated the license, but tonight, just in case he could finish off the job, he wanted a safe gun, one that could not possibly be traced. But then, thinking the matter over, he decided that he would just listen to the proposition tonight and report back to the Godfather, Don Corleone. He made his way back to the club, but he did not drink any more. Instead, he wandered out to 48th Street, where he had a leisurely late supper at Patsy's, his favorite Italian restaurant. When it was time for his appointment, he drifted uptown to the club entrance. The doorman was no longer there when he went in. The hatchet girl was gone. Only Bruno Tattaglia waited to greet him and lead him to the deserted bar at the side of the room. Before him he could see the desert of small tables, with the polished yellow wood dance floor gleaming like a small diamond in the middle of them. In the shadows was the empty bandstand. Out of it grew the skeleton metal stalk of a microphone. Luca sat at the bar and Bruno Tattaglia went behind it. Luca refused the drink offered to him and lit a cigarette. It was possible that this would turn out to be something else, not the Turk. But then he saw Sollozzo emerge out of the shadows at the far end of the room. Sollozzo shook his hand and sat at the bar next to him. Tattaglia put a glass in front of the Turk, who nodded his thanks. "Do you know who I am?" asked Sollozzo. Luca nodded. He smiled grimly. The rats were being flushed out of their holes. It would be his pleasure to take care of this renegade Sicilian. "Do you know what I am going to ask of you?" Sollozzo asked. Luca shook his head. "There's big business to be made," Sollozzo said. "I mean millions for everybody at the top level. On the first shipment, I can guarantee you $50,000. I'm talking about drugs. It's the coming thing." Luca said, "Why come to me? You want me to talk to my Don?" Sollozzo grimaced. "I've already talked to the Don. He wants no part of it. All right, I can do without him. But I need somebody strong to protect the operation physically. I understand you're not happy with your family. You might make a switch." Luca shrugged. "If the offer is good enough." Sollozzo had been watching him intently and seemed to have come to a decision. "Think about my offer for a few days, and then we'll talk again," he said. He put out his hand, but Luca pretended not to see it and busied himself putting a cigarette in his mouth. Behind the bar, Bruno Tattaglia made a lighter appear magically and held it to Luca's cigarette. And then he did a strange thing. He dropped the lighter on the bar and grabbed Luca's right hand, holding it tight. Luca reacted instantly, his body slipping off the bar stool and trying to twist away. But Sollozzo had grabbed his other hand at the wrist. Still, Luca was too strong for both of them, and would have broken free, except that a man stepped out of the shadows behind him and threw a thin silken cord around his neck. The cord pulled tight, choking off Luca's breath. His face became purple. The strength in his arms drained away. Tattaglia and Sollozzo held his hands easily now, and they stood there curiously childlike as the man behind Luca pulled the cord around Luca's neck tighter and tighter. Suddenly the floor was wet and slippery. Luca's sphincter, no longer under control, opened. The waist of his body spilled out. There was no strength in him anymore, and his legs folded, his body sagged. Sollozzo and Tattaglia let his hands go, and only the strangler stayed with the victim, sinking to his knees to follow Luca's falling body, drawing the cord so tight that it cut into the flesh of the neck and disappeared. Luca's eyes were bulging out of his head as if in the utmost surprise, and this surprise was the only humanity remaining to him. He was dead. "I don't want him found," Sollozzo said. "It's important that he not be found right now." He turned on his heel and left, disappearing back into the shadows.